Takes to the sky like a bird in flight, and who will be her lover? All your life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you heaven? Will you ever win?
Hello everybody, so this is officially the second video in my series making a barrel horse. So if you didn't watch the first video, definitely go back and watch that because that's all talking about preparing your horse to pattern, so before you're patterning your horse. In this video, I am again going to be using both my 4-year-old off-track thoroughbred gelding and my 8-year-old seasoned barrel horse, and we are going to be adding some 1-barrel drills and then also some 2-barrel drills. So definitely go back and watch the first one if you haven't, so that you can be up to speed, and then if you think that your horse is ready to add some barrels, you have the balance and consistency in circles, then go right ahead and keep watching, and good luck with your horse. So once again, I'm just starting out with my thoroughbred North, and I'm almost doing the exact same drill that I showed in my last video. So I'm doing a big circle around a barrel this time, and I'm just trying to keep him bending. He has some trouble. He didn't really want to do this, but I'm just keeping him in the big circle until I feel like he's ready to move on to the smaller circle. So he's bending nicely, going around at a nice consistent pace, and I'm just going to bring him into the center and do a little bit of a smaller circle around the barrel. And then he does that well. So I'm just going to let him go the other direction now, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm bringing him in a big circle. I want him to be at a collected pace. I mean, he's not really collecting that much, but he's also really young and he's still learning. So this is just working on that and his balance in a circle and bending. So we're in a big circle. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm just bringing him into a smaller circle. And then he's doing pretty good. And this takes work too. It's not just an overnight thing, but he did that well. So I'm just going to bring him over here, and then I'm just going to ask him to stop. And working on stops throughout your ride is also really helpful. So now that he has done that nicely, I'm going to move on to the spiral drill with a barrel at just a trot, and I'm just keeping him at a trot right now because I don't feel like he is ready to do these exercises at a lope yet. And I have already ridden him and worked him completely before moving on to barrel exercises because I want him to not dread working the barrels. I want it to be more of like a relaxing thing. So I'm keeping him really relaxed. So I'm just spiraling into a smaller circle. And he's doing this really nicely. And then when I do get to a lot smaller, he does want to break into a walk. And that is okay. As you can see here, I just let him walk the rest of the way around it, and then I call that good, that direction. This is his not as strong direction, so then I'm just going to ask him to do the same exact thing, going the opposite direction. So we're starting out at a big circle, and he's a lot stronger here. He's starting to enjoy these exercises, so he's going a little more forward. He looks happier. And he's staying nice and bent and round, and he's going at a very consistent pace all the way down to our small circle, so I really like that. So we're getting smaller, and keep in mind this is his better direction, so he naturally will be able to do it a little bit better, but the goal is to be able to do it just as well on his not as strong side too. And he did really good that time. He didn't break into a walk, so I'm just going to stop him there. And I'm going to call that a day because I want to leave it on a really good note. Don't overwork them on the barrels because they'll grow to hate it. And then he gets a good release. I'll just get off of him and then walk him out. So we're on to Dita now. And I am doing almost the exact same thing, but I'm adding another barrel. So this is a 2-barrel drill. So I'm starting out at a big circle around a barrel at a lope.
And then when I feel like she's really nicely bending and consistent and calm and relaxed and standing upright on all 4 feet, you know, she's not diving in, I'm going to just bring her into a smaller circle. As you can see, she has a lot more control. She can continue at a lope at a very small circle, not something that a horse can just do naturally. And then I'll just bring her up to the other side of the arena and go around the other barrel, same direction, big circle. And then when I feel like I'm happy with that circle, I'm just gonna ask her to come into a smaller circle. And you know, you can keep going around if you don't feel like they're doing a nice big circle, and keep going around until you feel they're nice and supple and relaxed, and then go on to your smaller circle. And you can do that a few times if you're not happy with it. And then I'm just going to ask her to stop because I was pleased with how she did. Give her a little bit of a release, rest for a second, and then I'm going to do it one more time. So again, I'm just going in a big circle around the barrel, and she looks pretty relaxed and calm. She's done a lot of this, so she kind of knows. And then into our smaller circle. And then on to the next barrel. And one of her main issues too is that when she's heading to the next barrel, she wants to really rush. And so I want her to be really relaxed. That's always my main focus, is just getting her calm and relaxed, because barrel horses are usually very easy to excite and get really hot. So it's a lot harder to calm them back down than it is to get them excited and wanting to run. So as you can see there, I went to bring her into her smaller circle, and she really wanted to dive into the barrel. So I just brought her right back out to her large circle, and I'm continuing her going around until I feel that she's ready to go into her smaller circle again. So here now I'm bringing her into a smaller circle, and she did not try to dive whatsoever, so I'm really happy with that. So since she did that how I liked, I let her rest. And like I said, for her, she gets riled up really easily, so it is my job to keep her relaxed and focused and happy. So with her, at the end of a really hard exercise like that, which it doesn't sound hard, it sounds pretty simple, but it does take a lot of strength and energy. So at the end of that, I just want to do the exact same drill at a walk so that she is calm, she's happy about what she's doing. This can be a relaxing activity, even though it is very high energy and high speed. And I never ever do anything high speed at home. It is all slow work and very controlled. I want her to be as focused as possible, because a horse naturally knows how to go fast. The hardest thing to teach them is to stay focused and to keep their mind right and to be relaxed while they're doing their job, so that they can do it to the best of their ability without getting super excited and just out of control. So I'm just doing her big circle at a walk, and then I'm bringing her in and doing a nice small circle. But anyways, so now I am doing almost the same drill, but so I'm taking her around in a big circle around the barrel. When I feel like she's doing that nicely, I'm just going to bring her into her smaller circle again. But instead of doing the other barrel at the same direction, I'm going to ask her to stop and change leads, so that we can start adding a flying lead change in there at the end of your first barrel. And obviously you're not going to be stopping them and asking for a canter again. It's going to be one fluid motion, and she does know that. She does her lead changes very well in a barrel pattern, but just for the sake of the patterning, this is a good way to start introducing that lead change after the first barrel and without even having to set up the full pattern. So at the end of this barrel, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stop her and ask her for a lead change, because you do want them, even though if your horse is a right runner,
running to the right first, you want them to be able to do the opposite direction lead change, because you never know when they're going to accidentally pick up a lead where they're not supposed to and they need to change it over to the other side. You want them to be able to do that without worrying. So I'm slowly lessening our stop and just asking her for a lead change, and this is how you would introduce your horse into doing a lead change in a barrel pattern. It is very helpful to practice lead changes without barrels, but just for the sake of the video, I'm just showing it this way. So I'm going around in our smaller circle, and then I'm just going to ask her to change leads, and she's pretty lazy at this point because she has worked really hard this day and it was very hot, so she isn't so excited to do a lead change, but we got it in there. And also, you definitely want your horse to learn to change its lead directly after the first barrel, because it is not good if they're running all the way across the pen to the second barrel still on the lead for their first barrel, and then they have to quickly change it as soon as they get there, and they're rushing and probably stumbling. It's just not good. You want them to be changing their lead straight out of the first barrel. So this is a great way to practice this, and I'm just going to ask her to stop because I was happy with how she was doing that. And actually, I did not like how she came out of that. She was really rushing to the wall out of that circle, so I'm just going to calmly bring her back into her big circle. I'm going to ask her to go into a smaller circle around the barrel, and then I'm going to ask her, once I'm happy with her circle, once again, just to come out, okay? I definitely do a lot of circles with this mare because she does not always work perfectly. She is a drama queen, and so she'll try to cheat, but there, I'm just going to ask her to stop again, and she was a lot more relaxed and ready for the stop that time, so I was happy, and that's all we did working on barrels that day with her. I really work on barrels not very, very often, but these are some good tips to help you.
Okay, so one thing that I really hope you can take away from this video is that you do not need a lot of space to pattern your horse at all. There are so many drills you can do using 1 and 2 barrels or 3 barrels, just not in the pattern. So for example, my arena is only 60 feet by 100 feet, so it's very small, and very, very rarely do I ever set up the pattern, and never do I run it full speed. That would just be super unsafe. And actually, setting up the whole pattern in a very, very small arena can actually do more bad than good, because it can teach your horse to rate off of the wall or the fence instead of just hunting for the barrel, which can cause problems. I mean, you're probably never going to run in an arena that small ever at a rodeo or a barrel race, so it isn't beneficial to practice it at home like that, because it's just so different. But that being said, in my next video in this series, it will be adding 3 barrel drills to practice, and then also some simple, very slow things you can do using the whole pattern in a small space. So you don't need a lot of space. I patterned my horse in my arena using mostly 1 and 2 barrel drills, and then just very slow stuff on the pattern, and she turned out awesome. So I hope that helps you out. If you're discouraged that you don't have a lot of space, don't worry, it's not completely necessary. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and watch out for the next one, and good luck with your horse.